Welcome to Labor Lens. I am Sharon Ijason. On this week's edition of the program, we have interesting news stories for you. We would also be focusing on the issue of casualization of workers, outsourcing of workers, and how workers are responding to the COVID-19 pandemic, which is still ravaging the world. We will be right back.
Thank you once more for giving us this opportunity.
The Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, PENGASAN, said hundreds of investments in the oil and gas sector have been driven away by the growing insecurity in the country. Chairman Lagos Zone of the Union, during a security awareness campaign, disclosed that there is need for more resources to be allocated to the police, whose responsibility is to maintain internal security.
We have come to offer synergy. We have come to offer partnership. We have come to appreciate your gallant work. We have come to say thank you, because you being awake ensure that we sleep with our two eyes closed. And haven't come to the realization that it is good to celebrate our heroes while they are still alive. PENGASAN, as one of the foremost trade unions in Nigeria, took a bold step to celebrate our security men and women, to say within the society, a realm celebrates your gallantry and we celebrate all your exploit. And we pray that God will continually protect and preserve you.
In the struggle for our union.
During the brief meeting between the union and the Lagos Commissioner for Police, he reiterated the commitment of the police force towards protecting the people.
In an environment of insecurity, nothing goes. That's it. So that's why being appreciated, being monitored, and having a communion chartered on us, so it means that we are being appreciated without declaring profit after tax. So thank you a lot for that. And I keep on telling my officers, keep on doing what you can do, you know how to do, and put in your best. Any job that one does without passion, you will see any problem there as obstacle. But once the passion is there, any problem in quote you see it as a challenge that you need to surmount and get to a higher one. And the higher one goes now, the more issues come up, and the more you surmount the problems. So that is what we are using to survive in Lagos State.
The Lagos Zone Senior Petroleum Workers presented awards to police officers who have shown exemplary conduct in line of duty.
PENGASAN will refer to a company as a farmland, that all the stakeholders want the farmland to be fertile so that everybody can go there and they plant and they reap. So if you are now casualizing workers and you are maximizing your profit at the detriment of that workers, I don't think it's something that we want to encourage, and we will fight against it to a very logical conclusion.
This is a subject that for us, PENGASAN, we are very, very critical of it. The association has actually laid its position very clear that this is a subject that is a no-no for us, because we feel you're using Nigerians, at the expense of the company. So we feel that every staff should earn the right to work, should earn gratuity, should earn pension, because when you do a casualization, really what you do is that you use and dump, and this is a subject that we are totally against it here.
On the profile interview segments this week, I will be speaking with the Deputy President of the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, Comrade Oyinkansola Olasanoye. She brought us up to speed on how workers in the banking and financial sector are responding to COVID-19 pandemic, and also requested that the federal government and relevant authorities should ensure that they declare workers in the financial sector as essential workers so that they can get the benefits of being one. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you. Good morning.
It's been a while since we had this conversation. I'm glad to be with you once again.
Thank you so much.
A lot has been happening in the financial sector since the last conversation. Can you bring us up to speed on the issue of COVID-19, which is a global challenge? How would you say your members have been responding to the pandemic?
Thank you. The effect of the pandemic was more felt in our sector. We have some few casualties. We have few people that have to the glory of God, they went through the crisis, but they are alive. You know, with during the pandemic, the banks are open. Members still load the ATM machines because although according to Nigerian economy, we are not treated as essential workers, but basically we are essential workers, so it's affected us. But of recent, we have encouraged our members, and I want to appreciate most of our employers for this, that most of us have reason to take the vaccine, the first dose, the second dose, and we have had a lot of enlightenment on how to take care of ourselves. All of us, we observe all the process and everything we need to do to keep ourselves safe. So we have done that.
Bank workers, financial sector workers are not seen as essential workers. But as an individual, I go to the bank, and I know some people might even leave the isolation center, or before approaching the isolation center, they go to the bank first to get money. And so it means a lot of people that actually approach the banking hall. And I'm also aware of some bank workers that actually had to pay the utmost price, that actually died due to COVID-19. And of course, they got infected right in the banking hall. In the era of where we're supposed to start taking vaccine, more vaccines will be rolled out in the next few weeks. What would be your message to the federal government and relevant regulatory authorities?
I want to also, once again, and say thank you to most of the government, most especially Lagos State government, also federal government. If you recall when His Excellency, President Muhammadu Buhari, addressed the nation in April 2020, and he was listing those that should still provide service, it didn't remember to mention the financial sector workers. It's like we should stay at home. I think it was thereafter later that they realized that there is nothing anybody could do in an economic situation when the financial institutions are totally locked down. But so based on that, we encourage our members, and we wrote all our employers to come and be of assistance to us. Because a lot of our members that were affected, you have mentioned people coming to the banking hall. But what of the effect of the multinated Naira notes? What of the effect of, despite that we were instructed to put a canopy, provide space outside the banks, but people will still come in. They will still need to come in. So the banking hall, we try as much as possible, and all the halls of the financial institution, to make it not to be as unnecessarily occupied, but people will still come in, and you don't know who is a carrier or is not a carrier. And when it was time for vaccination, and when they listed again the essential workers, our names were not there. So we have to do official letter to Lagos State government, and even to the federal government, the NCDC, and to the glory of God, immediately Lagos State government responded. And because we have more people in Lagos, it was easy for us to be able to have centers that accommodated us for the various vaccination shoots. Like as a present, our employers have great assistance to making sure that every occupational hazard, everything we need for us to be alive, we have it. But like now that the government have announced that there will be another round of shoot, because not everybody in the financial institution that have the bank. My appeal now is that we don't need to rewrite them or to remind them before they will note that we should be treated as one, because except they will feel that we are not interacting enough with Nigerians, and it is not possible, because so our appeal is that we should still be treated as one, so that there should be enough provision for us When those that are being treated under for the next vaccine, we should be giving priority. Then when we have reason to go to the hospital, we should be giving priority. And most of the time when we are placed on isolation, this we are working with our employers, but I need to explain it. When we are placed in isolation, there should be a difference between our annual leave and our health leave. So it should something that we need to quickly clarify, because most of the time, maybe because somebody in Bank A have reason, maybe a customer who they tested a customer that have visited Bank A, automatically everybody that work in Bank A that day will be placed on isolation. Most of the time, the first isolation is like health leave, sick leave. But when you are now declared, maybe after when you go back for the next set and you are now declared to be infected, the next set, automatically, most of the time, we take it from our annual leave. Because you can't afford to be away from your duty post for over the 2 weeks. And you know, isolation is for 2 weeks. So I also feel that government should look into this area and make necessary provision to help us.
Looking at the several challenges that the economy might actually be faced with, how would you rate the economy of the country year 2021?
Thank you. When I have reason to rate the economy of the country, I rate it from two angles. I rate it from the performance angle, and I rate it from the policy angle. When it comes to policy, there are so many policy outside, there are so many documentation, there are so many reports, so many statistics. This is the rate of inflation, this is the rate of cash flow in the system, this is the interest rate for people to be able to take loan. There are a lot of policy like that. But now when you come into the implementation, the effect on Nigeria, for me, I wouldn't rate the economy as performing up to expectation. Because as at present, there are high rates of unemployment in Nigeria. Even if not everybody needs to go into employment, there should be some people that should be able to go into business. The interest rate, the availability of the loan, availability of the equipment, availability of raw material, availability of power needed for them to go into their business is not available. So there have been a lot of unemployment. There have been a lot of underemployment. There have been a lot of even the informal sector not be able to produce and provide, and even those working because of the inflation rate. There have been issues with their ability. The purchasing power has drastically gone down. So how do we rate an economy that even when they have those that are into business, the exchange rate with which they can get the necessary equipment is so high? So for me, when there are policies, but the policies are not matching the actual or the actuality of the things Nigerians are facing in the market.
The issue of casualization of workers, contract staffing, still is a big issue in the financial sector, especially in the banks and other maybe insurance sector. The question now would be, what is the union doing to ensure that even though there's a challenge of COVID-19, we are aware that before COVID-19 it was a big issue. Now that we are faced with the COVID-19 pandemic, we know that it is going to be it's going to be a bigger issue. And looking at what the International Labour Organization director said recently, he said, yes, we are in a new normal, but can we have a better normal in terms of decent work? So what is the union doing to address this challenge of contract staffing, especially in the financial sector?
Thank you. They are Nigerian worker, and as long as we are paying them, we are making them to go through indecent work based on the way we treat them and the payment we are making to them. Even those of us that we are permanent workers, we are going to have issue. We spend over 9 hours in the offices every day. And when we have two people that they are working together and their mind are not together, there are some disgruntled workers. Definitely there will be issues. With due respect to all casual workers in Nigeria, I salute them. I salute their courage. They are hardworking. They are wonderful. But it is not possible for us to have people that are not happy. They are not at peace. Their salary did not take them to the next bus stop, that they will not be easy to be used by fraudsters as Trojan horse. So there have been increase in some of the fraudulent practices in the financial sector. because we have so many people that are not non-professionals, that doesn't know the ethics of the job, and they are not happy naturally. So that's why, as BFI, as a union, I've taken it up with our employers and Ministry of Labour and said, let us put in place a law, a guideline, a regulation that can guide these people so that they have the decency needed for them to work in a sensitive sector like the banks. And to the glory of God, everything is almost true. As at last week, we still communicate with the Ministry of Labour. It needs to go to FEC meeting for it to become a law, and we are really working with the minister, both the Minister of State and the and the minister himself. They have really be of great help to us in this sector, because they learn to realize, because at times people wonder and said, as Bifi, they are not your member. But I replied them and said, they are human beings, and as much as we work together, if any contract staff do anything outside there now, they said in Nigerian bank workers, which will definitely come back to us. That's the reason we are working together on a regulation, on a proper guideline that will make sure that there is a condition of service. They will know their right, they will know what they want to do, because most of the things that give them concern, apart from their salary, that is outrightly ridiculous, is that they can be on the same position for years without any remuneration, any promotion, nothing, and when they are leaving, they leave empty-handed. So these are the areas we are working with the Ministry of Labour and our employer, and NECA have been of great assistance to us concerning this.
The Central Bank of Nigeria recently banned forex sale to BDCs. As a professional, how would you react to this?
It's a policy that is good, in the right direction, but implementation is my concern. You see, before now, everybody, we have over 5,000 bureau de change in Nigeria. And if you consider that when this policy, the initial policy was put in place, the aim of central bank is that those few Nigerians that have less need of dollar, like less than 5,000, less than 2,000 BTAs, little SME, medium scale entrepreneurs will be able to run quickly to the bureau de change, have their money without going through the unnecessary procedure, the extravagant procedure in the banks. But we realize that suddenly they shift from accommodating these low request makers to let us, everybody that wants it. So they have not really served the purpose for which we really need them then. And it has also affected the way we manage the few foreign exchange that is in the circulation. Now for central banks to have said, okay, they will suspend bureau de change, they move it to the banks. I'm expecting there to be an immediate scarcity, and I hope they will manage the policy in a way that there won't be increase in parallel market players. Because if they didn't manage it well, it will be an opportunity for there to be others that they are not officially known. You know, as a president, we know all the bureau de change. But if we didn't manage this policy of suspending them well, there will still be bureau de change that doesn't have the official face, for which we can hold them responsibly. And also, I'm also looking at one thing that is a bit of concern to us. You know, without this bureau de change, with the thing in the bank, it means that the investor and the exporters window will be open. Then it means dollar will be at play on demand and supply. So I hope the central bank have enough policy in place that they will be able to manage the demand and the supply. Because if more people now are going to the bank asking for more money, you know, bureau de change have been closed, it means everybody is going to the bank, and there are more exporters than investors that are investing in, and there is not enough money in circulation. I hope that the demand also will not make the supply will also make the demand to be so high that the intention, which is to have enough at affordable rates, will not have another. Will be able to meet the intention. Those are my concerns. It is a good policy. I know from the banking sector, my members, we are used to working this way. We'll meet the standard. We'll be able to do everything. But the policy is not the issue. That is not the problem in Nigeria. But the implementation of the policy and the availability of central bank to be able to quickly bridge the gap, to be able to supply enough, to be able to manage it in a way with the bank that everything will work together.
With this development, how would you say your workers will be affected? Would they be affected in terms of welfare and the likes? What specifics do you think this development would entail for members in your sector?
This has got nothing to do with our welfare. Rather, it has got something to do with our working extra, because it's added things we need to do. But we know Central Bank said each bank should set up a special desk. So for that, we know that some of our members will be there. The only effect I'm seeing it having on bank workers is that a lot of people that doesn't understand the way the policy will work will go into the bank and they want prompt service. And the prompt service can only be provided based on the availability of this dollar. So there will be a lot of noise when we can't serve them based on unavailability, as if we are not working, as if there's something. That's the effect I'm expecting to have. But my members are prepared that when it comes to doing our job, we are used to some of the harassment, some of the intimidation, some of the embarrassment, and we psychologically, because we are professionals, we know how to, at least you appeal to your customers. Customers are always right. So for these areas, it will affect us and we are prepared for it. But as Nigerian also, because we need to separate being a bank or financial institution workers from being a Nigerian. As a Nigerian, as long as we have a very high cash flow rate, we also have a MPR that is high, there will be no growth. So definitely, as long as the interest rate is still very high, the exchange, we have not been able to control it. Unemployment, you know that in Nigeria, every worker have a lot of dependency. So as long as employment, we still have very high rate of employment. We have very high rate.
Which takes us to the issue of unemployment.
Unemployment.
Which takes us to the issue of unemployment, which the country is faced with at the moment. Are there practical solutions towards ensuring that more jobs are created?
The more federal government try to create employment, the more I don't see it. We can't find the employment they are creating. And yes, the government shouldn't be the only employer of labor. They should make the terrain accommodative enough that a lot of people will go into business. A lot of small-scale business owners, medium-scale business, even big institutions that should employ people are not finding it easy. The exchange rate is affecting their production. The interest rate is making it difficult for them to get money from the banks. So definitely, until we make the environment conducive enough for entrepreneurs to be able to create business, to be able to run business. Of what value is something you imported around January when the exchange rate was still as low as 400? You have made your sales based on 400. You want to restock your things that move to exchange rate that move to 540. Most Nigerians, their purchasing power is low. They know it's buying. So if you look through, you see that more of medium-scale businesses, small-scale businesses are closing down. So if they are closing down, a business that will take 5 up the labor market, this one will take 10 up the labor market, and they can't make it. They are closing down. So it means there are more people in the labor market, which also lead to the increase in armed robbery in the financial institutions. You see that there are more armed robberies in banks. It is because more people have nothing to do. And our judicial system, our justice system in Nigeria is not really making it to be seen that there is a sort of punishment for criminals. It's like when I can't get this employment and there's nothing to deter them from going to crime. So there are a lot of things like that. So until government make conducive environment for all other labor providers, we'll keep on having this problem.
Thank you very much for your time. And that's all we can take on today's edition of the program. Join us next week for a fresh edition of the show. I am Sharon Ijason. Thanks for watching, and remember that labor creates wealth.